I'm Bensette, founder of the Bossy Babe brand, fitness coach, and serial entrepreneur turned intuitive life and business coach. The Wealthy Babe podcast is for the ambitious, courageous, and spiritually charged up woman in network marketing, craving wealth not only in her bank account, but in every aspect of her life. Get plugged in here each week for authentic and unfiltered conversations from myself and industry leaders who are going to support you and give you all the juicy behind the scenes and real talk around business, spirituality, strong points of view, and doing shit differently. This is a safe space to come undone, be heard, and be given permission to rewrite your own damn rules. So here we go. All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Wealthy Babe podcast. Today we have Stephanie Churma with us, and I am so freaking excited because I just adore her. She's one of my fellow mama babes online who was actually probably one of the first people to reach out to me when I shared my news. And it is so nice if you are also a mom or a soon-to-be mom and you are in the entrepreneur space and you can just have these people that these women you can lean on and connect with and just get on a soul level, because there is, I guess I haven't seen all of the ups and the downs yet by any means, but having that person in your corner and just being able to connect, whether you are a mom or you're not a mom or you're just going through things and you're in business, you need a business bestie. You need people that you can connect with and reach out to. It is so freaking important. So anyways, you guys, I'm so excited to introduce you to Stephanie. So before I introduce her, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming on this episode of the podcast. It is going to be so freaking good.
I am so excited, Autumn. Thank you, girl.
Yay. Okay, so Stephanie Churma is the owner and founder of Good Love Company, a relationship coach, speaker, and expert. She works with women who are ready to reclaim their romantic life, intimacy, and finally step into their ultimate feminine identity. Oh my goodness, today is going to be so freaking juicy, you guys. We are going to be talking all about how to really get your spouse on board with your business, and we were jamming out in our inboxes about this, and it came to be so incredibly important because we realized how many women, especially whether you're in network marketing or you're in the online space, how common it is for women to actually, whether it's struggle with reaching success or dim their light in actually achieving success, how common that actually is in business, because there is this conflict or this disconnect when you're starting to build a business and you also have a spouse, whether you're married or you're just, in a relationship or you're dating, whatever phase you're in, trying to get that spouse on board and start to grow and shift in these spaces as an individual, but also, in your wealth and abundance can be, really difficult for a lot of women to kind of go through. So before we dive right in, I want to ask you the question that I'm asking all of my amazing guests that pop on here and shed a little light on something that I think is so incredibly important. So what are you celebrating right now?
I am celebrating a series of women who have stepped up and reclaimed their lives and signed on. I've had 2 women in the past 2 days reach out to me and say, I'm ready now, it's time. And they have been sort of in my sphere for about a year. And it's hilarious because right as you asked that question, I got a PayPal notification from one of them.
Stop.
So I know the universe is funny. So I'm celebrating really living in my purpose and feeling really good in my skin and serving some amazing women.
Oh my gosh, I love this. This is so good. Oh my gosh, you guys, all about them PayPal dings. Right? Oh my gosh, yes. And I'm thoroughly don't rob us of the celebratory, the good vibes. You got to share all the good vibes. So I love that you shared that you got some PayPal dings coming through. So, okay, Stephanie, can you share a bit about your journey to becoming a relationship coach?
Yes, definitely. So I love to joke that I was a dating disaster for about 10 years. I spent my 20s in back-to-back awful relationships, abusive, horrible. They were just really, really rough. And I remember thinking to myself, this doesn't make sense because I think I'm all right. I I just mesh sort of unraveling. And that moment when I was 29 years old of just being like, this is a pinnacle of my life. This is a moment where I'm leaving my 20s, I'm going into my 30s, and I haven't figured this thing out yet. And I think I'm a pretty bright person. So what's going on? So it was through a personal surrender and metamorphosis and true breakdown where I had to get really honest and clear about what was going on. And I figured out that what I was saying I wanted did not match the behavior I was exhibiting. It took me 10 years to figure out that my behavior and actions and what I was saying were not a match. And so through series of learning and educating and my own transformation, I realized the methods to how behavior works, how identity works, why we do what we do, what's our motivation. I became obsessed with learning about romantic love, subconscious programming, energy work. And through that, I ended up manifesting my fiance in about 57 days after I had this aha moment. So through our relationship and understanding the fundamentals of behavior and identity and energy work, it was such a neat, beautiful feeling. And I remember looking at my fiance and just being like, this is so good. This is just so good. And I was like, everybody needs this and everyone deserves it. And so it became a mission to help women understand why their current reality is what it is. And so through my experience and my relationship, I was like, I'm onto something. And so now I teach my method.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I wrote down on here, your behaviors and your actions were not matching what you were saying you wanted. And I think this is so freaking key. And I hope that every single woman listens to this right now and is like, oh, ding, ding, ding. Because honestly, how many of us are like, I want this level of business, or I want to hit this rank, or I want to make this amount of money, or I want this kind of relationship. But then what you're actually saying and how you're showing up in the world doesn't match what you're wanting to achieve or what you're wanting to bring into your life. And this happens so much, especially in relationships. I mean, I'm sure that you go through Facebook feeds and you're like, well, girlfriend, like, do you see what you're saying?
Oh my God, Autumn, I have to just sage my phone. I have to bless and release, like, these people are on their own journey, but it's crazy because change happens in hindsight. Change happens when you look back and go, oh my God, that's when you know you've changed. It's little by little by little until you look back and realize. And it took me 10 years to figure that out. And that's why coaching is so important to me, because it shouldn't take someone else a decade to figure out the one thing that you keep doing. It was like, oh, I keep making this mistake. What if I make this mistake harder with more effort? And hopefully it'll be different somehow. So it was a tough wake-up call. That's for sure.
Yeah, but now you have this powerful experience and, you know, this, 10 years of experience in all of the things that didn't work. So then you can be this voice and this light for other women. So they don't have to, like you said, spend 10 years trying to figure it out themselves. I couldn't agree more. I think that's one of the most powerful things about having a coach is your coach most likely has gone through the ringer and figured out every single thing right now that doesn't work. So they're going to give you the shortcut a little bit, help you get there a little quicker. And especially in the space when you're wanting love and connection and somebody who to get you. I mean, yeah, girlfriend, give me, take all my money. Here's my invoice.
Yeah, it's so it's so worth it, because everything in your life is a reflection of who you are and who's around you.
Yes, that's so powerful. So now that, everyone kind of knows you're an entrepreneur, you're a mom, and you are now a fiance. So I'm so excited about that. That's so fun. Was there ever a time or a moment that you really struggled to really navigate or balance these worlds?
Every day, still, all the time. It's a real challenge to knowingly be away from your son to go into your office and build a business. It's a decision every day to say, I'm going to take this guilt and kind of put it in a box and put the box in my pocket. I'm not going to spend time in guilt. I'm not going to start looping, because what I'm doing right now is for my child and for my family. So the concept of balance is kind of funny to me, because it doesn't really ever happen, but you can find harmony. So there are times when my fiance and my child will spend the day together, and I will be in my office working and creating. And sort of the way to counteract that is the quality time I have with my son is no phone, no business, no nothing. And a couple hours of quality one-on-one time is so much more impactful. And I think for us, my fiance Jordan, he believes in this vision so much that it's like we can do anything temporarily. We can do anything for a moment in time for a better life. And we just joke that we're just playing the game. So it's about priority and decision, and understanding that you're doing this for your family and for the future. And it all works out in the end.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I don't think I don't really agree in balance. I don't really think that there's ever a time where everything is balanced. I like how you described as harmony, and there's things that are working and things that maybe don't work. You mentioned that you didn't always have this balance, and you didn't always have this, like you were always kind of working out to figure out what this balance and harmony looked like for you, because it does look so freaking different for every single person in business, every mom, every entrepreneur. So was there like a question or something that you asked yourself when you were moving through this and giving yourself almost this permission? Like you said, you're putting guilt in your back pocket. So was there like a moment where you're like, I cannot continue on this way, living in this guilt? And was there like a question or something that you asked yourself that allowed you to step into this space of permission where it felt okay again to run your business versus, living in that, well, I'm taking away if I'm doing, X, Y, Z?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it's something that, as like the moms who are listening, you guys feel me on this. It really sort of came down to the idea of who would I have to be? What would have to happen for me to be okay to be a career woman as well as a mother? What kind of beliefs do I have to shred that I can't do both? And I think for me, it really came down to the idea that if I don't do this, if I don't really make my company the empire that it's becoming, what kind of partner and what kind of mother am I going to be? I would probably be very resentful. I would probably be super low vibe. And so the trade-off was, we're going to work for these couple years. We're going to get it together in these couple years. And we found a game plan, and it's so worth it in the end. So it just comes down to the idea of, can I allow myself to have it all? Can I allow myself to identify as a career woman? Because I've said this to my girlfriends and to some of my clients, I never intended to be a mother. I was never going to have children ever, 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 ever. I was going to be the cool aunt, and I was going to work for a magazine. I went to school for public relations, and I was going to work at Glamour, and I was going to live in New York. And then I met my fiance, and a month into being together, it was like, there's a baby coming through and I can't help it, and I feel like it's happening, and oh my God. And he said, I know, I feel it too. And our son was born a year to the day of our first date.
Oh my gosh. So
it became part of me, and it wasn't like, okay, I'm putting on my mom hat and now I'm going to put on my career woman hat. I had to decide, can I merge those two and create my own identity, instead of feeling like, well, I have to choose, or I'm being pulled. And anytime I have the guilt, I just look at it and say, okay, why is this coming up? What is this trying to tell me? Because any quote unquote negative emotion is just a messenger. It's just knocking at the door saying, okay, there's something we need to bring to your attention. And so for me, it was, okay, I need to have enough nutrition so that I can be energetic and healthy and vibrant. I need to make sure my sleep is right. I need to make sure my fiance and I are having sex regularly. I need to make sure that my physicality is right so that I can be present as a parent and present as a businesswoman. And it just became an identity switch. And anytime that little guilt came up, I would just have a conversation with it. I would invite guilt to tea, and I would sit down with guilt and I would say, what do you want to talk about today, guilt? And then it just completely diffused it. And anytime I have moments like that, I just go through the same thing. What is the lesson here? What's the message? What am I ignoring? And then I just go back to what feels good in my bones. And for me, I am a businesswoman as well as a mother.
Yes, I identify with this so much. And I love that you said, you know, allowing to have it all and having almost this like tea party with guilt, just like some of these little things that I wrote down that were so freaking powerful, because I think like we relate on a soul level with this, because I've been pretty open about this as well. As like, I didn't know if being a mom was something I wanted to do. And I had so much fear around this, having this being and then it taking away from something else. And because I had this, I couldn't have that. And it was something that I was like determined right from the start. It's like, I will not be defined. And it's not that there's anything wrong with you defining yourself as a mother, but for me, it wasn't enough. I never found that was going to be my sole purpose. I never woke up thinking, right, like I'm going to have all these kids in the white picket fence and I'm going to cook all the meals. Like I can't cook at all. Like it's just at all. I can't do it. And so that was never my identity that I thought I was going to have. And so I was like hell bent on saying, this is not going to become all of me. I'm going to take on this role, but it's not going to take anything away from me. And so that's been something that I've been sinking into a lot. And I think it's powerful for women to have this permission and have this realization that you can have it all, and you can have the business, and you can have the family, and you can have the amazing relationship, and you can have this amazing sex life, and you can have like the most amazing business and family and just everything under the sun that you want. Like you can have it all. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So I'm sure we could talk about that for days.
I know.
Part 2.
I know. I was just thinking that.
So you've probably seen this too, but a big block that I know that I see in women's success or a struggle that they face is their spouse not being on board with their business. So can we talk about that for a moment? Like what's your insight here? Why, from your perspective as a relationship coach, does this happen?
Yes. And I love this question because it is truly right now in the online space, the number one thing that I'm seeing across the board. I can't get my spouse on board. What's going on? And so there are 2 reasons behind this. So the first reason why this happens is the partner, and for context sake, I will speak in heteronormative terms, but the partner is typically used to traditional societal norms, right? You get up, you go to a building and you do a job for another person, and then you leave the building and you go home and you watch TV together and you go to bed. That is typical society. So when you, the badass businesswoman, says, I want something different, this seems crazy to me, I'm going to do my own thing. The first thing that can come up 9 times out of 10 is the idea that you will not need your partner. It almost becomes like, wait a second, we were doing something together. We both went to jobs. We both came home, and now you're doing this? I don't know what this looks like. Are you going to need me anymore? What's happening? And this happens because we are so conditioned in societal norms. And I'm not even talking about breadwinner versus stay-at-home parent. Like, I'm not talking 50s. I'm talking what people think you do after school. And so when you decide to sort of break off and say, I'm doing something different, there is the subconscious fear that you're not going to need your spouse. Because you have your biz besties, you have your coach, you work on the internet, you work on a phone, and it is so foreign to most spouses who are not in the world that it becomes this fear-based thing. They're not going to need me. What's going on? what's going to happen. It's all fear, which ties into the second part of, if they don't need you, then what if you go away? What if you leave? What if you not only don't need them anymore, but you're doing so well that you want to change where you're living? You want to change your partner. You want to date that gorgeous male influencer. It's all these irrational fears, but so often where it comes from is this idea of, she's not going to need me anymore and she's going to leave. I've seen it across the board because they don't understand, and they love you. They want to see you happy, but it just comes down to the idea that if you're doing your own thing, and especially if you're new in business and you spend all day in your office and all day on your phone, their brains go haywire, and it becomes this, what is she doing? I don't know what's going on. Am I not important anymore? Is she going to leave me? But they don't know they're feeling that, so it comes out as, oh, you're working on your business again? Oh, you're spending that much on a coach? Oh, can you not just not do that tonight so we can go do something? That's what it ends up looking like. So many women say, he doesn't support me, he doesn't get it. And really, it's just 1,000 forms of fear that you won't need them anymore. And that is the issue underneath it all.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And I think that, I don't know if you battled through that yourself at any point, with your fiance or in past relationships, but I know that I have for sure in many, many times, especially at the start of my business. And I see so many women going through this. And a lot of the time we think it's coming from a space of almost hate or frustration, but it's coming from fear, and it's coming from love and fear. It's just not being receptive that way. You can't receive it that way. You can't look at it with those eyes of love, because you're like, well, why can't you support me? Like you said, why can't you get behind it? And we see these conversations so many times on, in the online space or in safe communities or with our clients, and it really does cause a big disconnect. So how would you say what kind of advice would you give for these women? How could you help or support or guide them through getting their spouses more on board with their business? Is there a way to communicate with them? Is there a shift that needs to happen? Where do they go from here?
Yeah, totally. And so I think for me, what I always suggest, and I say this to my clients all the time, is that when you have dialogue, I joke and I call it avoiding the double D's, and that is defenses and deflection. So what this looks like is you decide that you want to have a convo with your partner, and you want to open up the dialogue. Make sure that there are no defenses and no deflection. So how do you do it? It looks like this. You sit down with your guy or gal or whomever, and you ask them, what are you afraid of? They probably would not expect that. And it would probably be one of the best open dialogue starters, because it is free of, so why didn't you support me? Or why are you giving me shit again? There's no defenses, no deflection. It is simply, what are you afraid of? Is there anything that I could share with you about this that I haven't? Is there anything that I can do that I haven't? Have you been neglecting date nights? Have you raced from the morning cup of coffee to your office? Have you asked him how his day was? Have you, is there anything that you haven't done to keep the relationship connected? Because when there are holes in the relationship, the first immediate thing to do is look at the easiest thing to blame. So if you went from hanging out all the time, working at 9 to 5s, coming home weekends together, evenings together, and now all of a sudden you're doing your online business and saying, why don't you get it? How do you not get this? This is my passion. Okay, well, it's new. I don't know what's going on. What the heck? We've been together for a few years, and now all of a sudden you are doing this Facebook business thing. They don't understand, and we have forgotten that men are extremely sensitive. They're extremely loyal. They love your life together, and any change and interruption can come as a threat. It's primal. It's like, wait a second, what the heck? There's something different. So if you sit down and just say, like, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Is there anything I can share that I haven't? Is there anything I can do that I haven't? And typically it could look like, well, yeah, like, what is it? Like, what's MLM? Like, what do you do? Well, I have these amazing products that have changed my life, and I work with wicked women. Oh, okay. How do you do that? And you just start the conversation, and slowly you dismantle the bomb little by little. So it's not this weird, scary thing that's separating you two. It now becomes a dialogue. If your partner is in love with you and you're happy and healthy, he's not going to want you to not enjoy this. He just wants to know what's up. And he doesn't know. Most of them have no clue. So to get defensive and angry and say, how dare you not support me, when you haven't given them that platform to air everything out on the table. Make it fun. Have a bath together. Go out for coffee. Like, have a sacred space where you can just let him have the floor. What are you afraid of? What can I share that I haven't before? Is there anything I can do that I haven't done? And then just start that conversation, and you would be so surprised at the feedback you'll get.
I love that. I mean, this is going to be so helpful for so many women who are really struggling through this, and they just don't know how to open these lines of communication, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is this opportunity to really become a team in this space, but it can feel so daunting and so scary and so difficult when your person just doesn't get it. And so I love that. Like, just, what are you scared of? What are you afraid of? Just like, give them the space to be real and to open up and to be heard. And like you said, men are actually very sensitive. They actually just want to feel safe. And so there's probably this part of them that maybe doesn't feel safe in this space because so much is shifting and changing, and they need to kind of get on board with that and see where it is that you're going. So is there anything else that these women can do that's really great? They can communicate with their partner. They can take this step. Is there anything that they need to do within themselves? Is there anything like internal, a decision, something that they can just do on their own time that can also help with this shift and help get them on board? Or is it really just come down to communication within the relationship?
That's a great question. I think the bulk of it has to do with how you communicate with your partner. I firmly believe the best relationships are friends at the foundation. There should be a foundation of friendship. There should be a level of we can talk about stuff. We can hash it out. We can have these kinds of conversations. But if you want to sort of amp it up, you can decide within your business building that, Wednesday nights, this every second Wednesday, that's our time. Phone's off. We have a date. We're doing something. Men respond to action. Men respond to, hey, I recognize that you're feeling a type of way. Here's what it's about. Here's what I'm going to do. They respond to that completely. So if you know, okay, my partner's feeling a little neglected and he's picking at me because underneath all this, he feels neglected. Okay, so we're now going to have our day. Every second Wednesday, it's our day. And then slowly introduce him to the world. Show him, like with my fiance, I started showing him male leaders in the space. I started showing him really wonderful examples of how this online world works. And then he was like, wow, I feel better after watching this live. This guy's talking about emotions. Cool, I can do it too. When you familiarize it, when you make it familiar, it just becomes part of your life. And then little by little, as they see that you're not going anywhere, it doesn't have to be, I'm building a business, so see you later. Once that fear goes down, the resentment will be almost gone, because all they want to know is, hi, do you still love me? Are we still good? Like, I know that you're changing. I know there's stuff going on, but make sure you return home. Make sure every night, don't bring your phone to bed.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have a healthy sex life. Make sure that you're committed to your identity and your relationship, and that your partner knows that at the end of the day, this business is for both of you. This business is because you have a mission and a vision so big, and you can't wait to bring them with you. Yeah. And it's a goal, and together we're doing it. And say, like I always tell my clients at the end of every week, when you're in bed together or when you're having dinner, take 20 minutes and ask your partner, I do this every week, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate our relationship this week? And if it's a 7 or an 8, you then follow up and say, what would need to happen to make it a 10? Men respond very well to straightforward questions. So if I were to ask my partner, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate our relationship this week? And he would go, yeah, I mean, like an 8. It was good. I'd be like, okay, well, how would it be a 10? What would have to happen for it to be a 10? Well, in between calls, I would really like to spend some time with you. And we didn't go on our date that week. And it kind of sucked when you didn't answer my text because you were working. And that would be cool. All right, amazing. And then so you just get that feedback. And then you learn as you go, and then you grow together.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so important that how you mentioned that ultimately what they're doing is they need validation and permission that this dream isn't just yours, that this dream is both of yours, and you're doing it for the family, you're doing it together. It's not just yours. I had the same situation, honestly, like the other night I was sitting on the couch with Derek, and my business has been hitting some pretty crazy goals and accomplishments these past couple of weeks, or the past couple of months really, but like everything's just kind of grown the past couple of weeks here. And he was so proud of me. He was like, I'm so proud of you. And I said, like, babe, like this is this is us doing it. Like we're doing this together. This isn't just mine. He goes, wow. He's like, thank you. Like that means so much. And he was just like, wow. Like it was such a shift, because he sees that I'm not just working hard and doing all the things, and my intention's just on me and focusing on building me so that I can have all the things, and then walk up and leave one day and have this whole different life without him. He's seeing that like we're building this together. And even if he's not the one getting on the podcast interviews, and even if he's not the one doing the editing, and he's not the one doing the posts and coaching the clients, he's still playing an integral part and role in building this business, whether that is the support within, for me, the support in the love behind the vision, or it's taking on roles around the house and cleaning up or doing certain things, or being okay if I need to sleep or have a little nap or something, he's like, that's cool. You do you, girl. So it's important that they get on board with having this validation that you're not just doing this thing for yourself, and that you're building it together. So why do you think that having a kick-ass relationship is so correlated to also having success and a kick-ass business?
Oh my goodness, the holy grail question. It is so important. It is absolutely important. Think about this. You guys know that when you are waking up and you have your coffee and you're like, I am so grateful, I'm going to slay the day. This is next level amazing. My clients are wicked. It's happening. I'm feeling it. And then your partner comes in the room and says, you didn't do the dishes. What's up with that? And then you have to go on a client call. And you're like, okay, well, and then you have kind of an okay client call, but then you're thinking, my boyfriend's pissed at me over something stupid. What the heck? It affects your energy, period. So when you grumble with your boyfriend, your business that day, if you don't flip the switch of your vibration, is gonna be less than ideal. If you are with someone who shows little to no respect for your vision, it's going to be very hard to call in clients and abundance, let alone receiving. If you have an issue with toxic people in your life, you're going to call in clients who are not going to be very good for you either. It is a domino effect. If we understand at a fundamental level that our outer world is a direct reflection of who we are as people, then we need to take self-responsibility and have the integrity to do an inventory of the people in our lives. I'm not saying you need to leave your partner. I'm not saying that at all. But we need to have the understanding that the energy that you exhibit every single day is a direct correlation of your business. The days when my fiance and I have bullshit arguments, I don't show up online. I don't force myself to do a live. I don't try and put out some witty content. I take the time to say, there is a message here. What is the message? And then I move through. The way that the company you keep, the friends around you, everything is a reflection of you. If you want to call in high quality clients, if you want to be viewed as a leader, if you want to have and attract amazing biz besties and expand, there needs to be a level of support and there needs to be massive respect around you. And if there isn't, that is your first priority, because building a business without that is like a house of cards. It will, and I've seen it. So it's definitely one of the most important things to focus on, especially in the beginning.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I don't know how many times that there was a bad blow up or a bad fight, or we were just not on the same page about something. And then I'm like, okay, great. So you left to work and now I have a whole day of client calls and posts and lives and things that I got to do. How the heck am I going to show up for this in the energy that I need? And it is almost impossible. And you're sitting there all day. Like, I just can't wait till he comes home. I just can't wait till he comes home. Like, I just knock this out. And it just consumes. I don't know how many times I've like canceled my whole day. And I mean, that was, I've really learned to step out of that space now and to kind of compartmentalize. Yes. My emotions as much as possible, still giving myself the space to feel the things that I need to feel, but also knowing like when I can kind of turn things off and then turn them back on. But there was a big period of time where anytime something bad happened, and it was frequent because we were in a struggle bus space for a while, I would just shut everything off. And it really does go to show how incredibly important it is for you to have this strong and safe relationship where you feel good and connected in it. So then you have this amazing energy that you can show up in your business and create success and pour this energy, because we're energy, right? People are buying into our energy. They're just buying into being in our space. And if our space is depleted and broken and frustrated and we're in a fight with our spouse, like, we're not carrying energy where anyone else wants to be in, and ultimately it's never serving anybody else. So I love that you mentioned that. I love this topic is so freaking good. So do you have do you actually, I'm gonna flip the switch here for 1 second before I go into this question, because I know the goal here obviously is to get your spouse on board. The goal here is to have a stronger relationship, to mend and grow closer together. However, is there a time, or have you experienced a time where there does have to be this situation of you need to let them go? Like, do you know what this line is? Have you helped women kind of experience this? Just for the woman who I'm thinking maybe has been at their wit's end and they have tried everything under the sun, and no matter what this, they're not wanting to grow or change or evolve with them. Have you kind of, experienced this or helped walk other women through it?
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, it is way more common than one would expect. And I do have sort of a different view on what humans call breakups. I like to think of it as divine intervention. I personally believe that two people, in order to have a long-term, successful, monogamous, like sitting on the porch when you're 60, laughing, in order to get there, you have to have a shared vision. This doesn't mean that you both have to have the same career goals, but it has to be like, you have a goal, I have a goal, we have shared goals, and we're moving together. We are all frequencies, right? So for two people to be in a relationship, you have to be on the same frequency. That is a frequency of, I understand, I support, I get it. But what can happen is with women in business, oftentimes they start doing this. They go up, they go up, they go up. And if they don't have a good relationship, that's when the cracks start to show. So instead of the guy saying, oh, this is what your business is. Oh, you're not going to leave me. Oh, we're going to do this together. Instead, what can happen is the other partner will try and bring you back down. They'll try and cut you. They'll try and disrespect you. And so that is the massive red flag and alarm bell for me, because nobody who truly loves you, loves every ounce of you, would ever try to manipulate you out of your success. It's just across the board. It would never happen. They may not get it, but they'd be like, all right, okay, cool. Like, but the guy that's going to say, I'm not down, I'm not here for it, bless and release, it is divine intervention. Because what happens is when you say, I've given it my best shot, I've done everything I can, when you've earned the breakup and you stand by your own personal standards, the universe is going to say, I got you. I got you so hard. So then you put one foot in front of the other with that thought of like, I'm doing this for me, I'm doing this for me. And what happens? Synchronicity happens. There is a person who comes into your life. There is a person who introduces you to somebody else. You start connecting, you start merging, and you connect with people on the same frequency. So you're less concerned and less worried about, Mr. Depressing, who can't get it together, and you start to say, this may be painful in the moment, but I can't go wrong living my purpose. I can't go wrong showing up from a space of authenticity. And I can try to believe for a minute that I will be supported. And then when that shows up, you go, okay, I can believe a little more. And when that next thing shows up, you say, okay, oh my God, this is how vibrational alignment works. Oh my goodness. And before you know it, you have a new partner who would love nothing more than to see you soar. You're too busy with all the clients you have. Your biz besties are rooting for you. And you look back and say, thank God I didn't spend another day with him. It becomes what you decide it to be. It's divine intervention, 100%. Follow the tug.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I freaking love that. So do you have any final pieces of advice or juicy nuggets to leave these women with?
Ooh, well, okay, so this may be a bit of a polarizing statement, but I don't care. I'm just going to go for it.
I love it. Do it.
Not everyone is meant to be in the online space. Not everyone is meant to do it. Not everyone understands transformation. Not everyone understands mechanics of marketing. Not everyone is cut out for this world. So with that being said, if you are listening and you're like, I know I am, this is in my bones, this is who I am supposed to be, I believe in this wholeheartedly, then you are one of the chosen ones. And if you continue to live in that vibration and live in that space, the people who don't get it or won't get it will fall away to make space for the people who do love and support you. So your goal is to assess, are you meant for this work? Is it in your bones? I eat, sleep, and breathe this. So if my partner, after all my attempts, wasn't able to understand it, that would be a conflict, because I refuse to dim my desire to appease another person. That's for sure. And so for anyone listening who is in this situation, please understand that if you know that this is your path and your mission, and you, come hell or high water, are supposed to do this, please know the people that you're supposed to have around you will find their way to you. The people who no longer serve you will fall away. Everything is seasonal, and your job is to get so comfortable with your identity and your mission in this world that it won't bother you either way.
That was so perfect. Yes, yes, yes. I love that so much. All right, so we have reached the end. However, there is one final question that I always ask my guests. Yay. What does being a wealthy babe mean to you?
Ooh, being a wealthy babe means never having to see my son put something back on a shelf at a store. It means never having to do the mental calculations at the grocery store. It means buying food that isn't a no-name label. It means security. It means safety. But for me, the most important thing is that wealthy women get to give back. We get to serve, we get to help, we get to guide, and be compensated for it. So that's what being a wealthy babe means to me.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is fire. That is beautiful. I'm obsessed with it. So now, where can our listeners find more of you?
Yes, well, I'm searchable on all social medias. You can find me on Instagram at Good Love Co. You can visit the website at thegoodlovecompany.com, and my name is searchable across the board. I would love to connect with you further.
Amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Make sure you guys go and find Stephanie. Go love on all of her stuff. Get immersed in her because she is amazing. And this was just a snippet of what you're about to receive from her. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Stephanie, so much for being on this episode and sharing so many juicy nuggets, sharing your energy, sharing your expertise and your knowledge. I know that this is going to be the permission and the voice inside so many women's heads that they needed right now, right in this moment. So you guys, again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for leaving a 5-star review. We appreciate you so much and see you next time.